Good morning, everyone. Happy Colorado Day. Happy birthday, Colorado. August 1st is Colorado Day. Thank you for joining us today. Today is Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. We are here for the Larimer County Board of County Commissioners Administrative Matters meeting here in the hearing room on the first floor of our Administrative Services building in Fort Collins. We will call this meeting to order and we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I ask you all to stand and join me for the pledge. Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining me for the pledge. Again, welcome. I am Larimer County Commissioner Jody Shag McNally, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. Very glad to have you all here. I am joined at the dais with my colleagues, Larimer County Commissioner Kristen Stevens and Larimer County Commissioner John Kafalis. Also joining us today and supporting our meeting is our clerk to the board, Natalie Delman. Welcome, Natalie. And our county manager, Lorendo Volker. We have Tom Clayton from our public information office and helps assist us during our meetings. And Sarah Martin from our commissioner's office who helps with our scheduling and our public comment and lots of other things in the office. Thank you, Sarah. So with that, we will now move on to public comment. I don't have anyone signed up on our list, but I will make the opportunity for anyone in the audience who would like to just raise your hand. Everyone's welcome to make public comment. You'd have 3 minutes. Okay, don't have to be shy. Everyone's welcome. Okay, so we'll go on to Sarah. Is there anyone online?
Nobody online.
And have we received any emails or public comments today?
No.
Okay, so I wanted to just say thank you all, and always know that our public comment is open and welcome for anyone, and we will now close public comment. On to approval of the minutes. Colleagues, did you have any additions or changes for our minutes today? Okay, then I will ask Commissioner Stevens to make the motion for approval of the minutes, please.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the minutes for the week of July 24th, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 3-0. Thank you. On to our upcoming schedule review. Sarah, thank you for going through our schedule. It's still a little bit of fair week for Fair and Rodeo week this weekend, next week. So I look forward to listing all the things we're going to be busy participating in. Thank you.
This is the Commissioner's schedule for August 7th to the 12th, 2023. On Monday, August 7th from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., there will be a work session for an informational presentation on housing authorities in Larimer County in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., there will be a special County Board of Equalization hearing in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 1:30 to 2:30, there will be a work session with Leslie Ellis, Director of Community Planning, Infrastructure, and Resources in the Commissioner's conference room on the second floor. From 2:30 to 4 p.m., Commissioners Stevens and Shattuck McNally may attend the Larimer County Fair and Rodeo Sensory Day at the Ranch Gate 1 at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally will attend the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Rodeo at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. On Tuesday, August 8th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., there will be Administrative Matters meeting in the hearing room on the first floor. From 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m., there will be Administrative Direction to County Management in the Sprague Lake Conference Room on the second floor. From 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may participate in the virtual South Platte Basin Roundtable meeting. From 5:30 p.m. to 9 p.m., Commissioner Kafalis may attend the Environmental and Science Advisory Board meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be in the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., Commissioners will attend the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Rodeo at the Ranch at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. On Wednesday, August 9th, from 1:30 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., there will be a work session regarding the preliminary 2024 to 2029 strategic plan goals in the Commissioners' conference room on the second floor. From 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., there will be an executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 246402B. And from 4 p.m. to 5:30 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Larimer County Junior Livestock Sale Buyer Appreciation Dinner at the MAC Equipment Arena at 5280 Arena Circle in Loveland. From 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., there will be a Commissioner/Planning Commission work session in the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor. On Thursday, August 10th, from 7:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioner Stevens may attend the Fort Collins Downtown Development Authority Board of Directors meeting at the Innisphere Ventures at 320 East Vine Drive in Fort Collins. From 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., Commissioners Koufalos and Stevens will attend the Solid Waste Policy Advisory Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at the Larimer County Loveland campus at the Big Thompson River Conference Room at 200 Peridot Avenue in Loveland, or virtually via Zoom. From 11:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Larimer County Interagency Oversight Group meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at the Carter Lake Conference Room on the first floor or virtually via Zoom. From 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Office on Aging Advisory Council meeting. It's a hybrid meeting. In person, it'll be at 2573 Midpoint Avenue in room 124 in Fort Collins, or virtually via Zoom. On Friday, August 11th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., Commissioners may attend the Colorado Counties, Inc. Front Range District meeting at the Riverdale Animal Shelter at 12155 Park Boulevard in Brighton. On Saturday, August 12th, from 8:30 a.m. to 10 a.m., Commissioner Koufalos will host a community conversation for the LaPorte community. The guest will be Yara Zoke, the Larimer County Chief Deputy Assessor, who will discuss property taxes and the appeal process at Mio Mai Pai 3310 West County Road 54G in LaPorte. From 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., Commissioner Koufalos will host story time at the Larimer County Farmers Market at 200 West Oak Street in Fort Collins. And from 2 p.m. to 3:30 p.m., Commissioner Shattuck McNally may attend the Estes Valley North End Property Owners Meeting at the Estes Valley Community Center at 660 Community Drive, Estes Park.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate you going through that schedule. Colleagues, do you have any additions or changes? Okay. Commissioner Koufalos.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning and welcome, everyone. The Saturday, August 12th, the community conversation, that will still occur, but it will be an open meeting just with me. The Deputy Chief Assessor, Yara Zokai, will not be present. So folks can have at me as much as they'd like that morning. 8:30 to 10. If you're nice, I'll buy you coffee.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, so we will now move on to our consent agenda. And let me just start by saying I'm going to read at a high level the consent agenda and not go into a lot of details. For those who are interested in details on the consent agenda, all of our information is on our county website for the Board of County Commissioners. You can see our emails, our schedules, our meetings, and the details of the consent agenda. So I will now talk about the consent agenda. The consent agenda consists of items of no perceived controversy and routine actions such as abatements, agreements, deeds, final plats, liquor license, and resolutions, and other matters previously reviewed by the Board of County Commissioners. Staff recommends approval of the consent agenda. A commissioner may request that an item be pulled off the agenda and considered separately. Items pulled from the agenda will be considered after the board takes action on the remainder of the consent agenda. So I will now read through this at a high level. So we have several abatements, petitions for abatement of taxes. There are 5 of them. And they range from an individual from Johnstown, Colorado, from a Red Canyon, Loveland, Fort Collins, another Fort Collins, and another Fort Collins. We have several agreements, 6 of them. The first agreement is the Third Amendment to Voting Systems Acquisition Agreement. And this is our voting system has entered into a voting systems acquisition agreement to expand and have another agreement to make sure that we are ready for our big elections this coming year. And this is with the Board of County Commissioners, and you can find all those details on the website. Number 2 is an amendment number 2 to a professional services agreement with the Broadband Management Program. And this is amendment to extend the contract date through July 31st of 2024 to add funding to the additional broadband program management services that is completed through that date. And that's through Larimer County and our fantastic partner, Ditesco. 3 is intergovernmental agreement for funding of mobility management activities in Larimer County outside of the North Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization boundaries. And this is with our engineering and Larimer County and North Range Front Range Metropolitan Planning Organization. Number 4 is a development agreement for Stroh Pit, file number 09Z1770. And this is something that is historical, something that happened before we were commissioners. And this is just to go through just kind of a routine procedural thing for development agreement between the parties listed in the agreement that you can find on the website. 5 is the amendment to the possession and use agreement. And this is Alex Swartz of Engineering, amendment to the possession and use agreement dated April of 11th of 2023 to the legal parcels listed in the agreement. And this is with Seaworth Ag Enterprises and other holdings, and you can find this on the website. Number 6 is PUA3, possession and use agreement for Seaworth Ag Enterprises to Larimer County. Again, possession and use agreement concerning the acquisition of utility easements associated with road improvements to County Road 70 and County Road 9. We have 1 appointment to the LaPorte Area Planning Advisory Committee of Mr. Lomas. We have 3 deeds. 1 is a deed of dedication from James and Susan Herring of County Road 19 right-of-way, PN 337. A deed of dedication from Charles Grindler for additional right-of-way on County Road 38E, PN 5044. And a deed of dedication of right-of-way purposes from Mr. and Mrs. Jordan to Larimer County. And this is for the road improvements on County 9. And this is a very important intersection as we're working with engineering and the neighbors in that community for public safety for this intersection. Has been a long time trying to get to this point. So really excited to see the progress. We have 4 liquor license renewal, Glenhaven General Store, LLC. In Glenhaven, we have liquor license renewal for Addie Harkey and Sons Corporation or Four Seasons Liquor in Fort Collins. We have a liquor license renewal for G2G Legacy LLC or Masonville Mercantile in Loveland, Colorado. And 4th, we have a liquor license renewal for NICSO LLC or Sundance Steakhouse and Saloon in Fort Collins. We have 1 miscellaneous item of a conveyance for a permanent easement from James and Susan Herring for County Road 19, PN 337. And we have a policy update for the Human Resources Policy and Procedure 331.6R submitted by our Human Resources Employee Relations Manager, and it's just a benefits policy update. We have 3 resolutions. 1 is a resolution for setting work release fees, and this comes from Colleen Jensen and Jill Fox and Emily Humphrey of our Community Justice Alternatives Department. And then we have a resolution establishing compensation for Deputy District Attorney 3 submitted by the District Attorney's Office. And we have 3, a resolution for setting useful public service community service fees, again, submitted by our Community Justice Alternatives. Again, you can find all of this information and more details on our Larimer County website. Colleagues, are there any of these items that you wish to pull from the consent agenda? Okay, with that, Commissioner Cafals, I would welcome a motion to approve the consent agenda, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the consent agenda for August 1st, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner, for that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3-0. Thank you very much. And now we'll move on to anyone have our any commissioner guests.
I just wanted to remind, we do have Louise here from the fair, and so I didn't know if we had a slot for her, but I think this is maybe a good time for her.
That would be great. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. I saw Louise there with a colorful bag. So yes, I would love to have Louise come up and talk about what the confluence of anniversary and our amazing fair and rodeo time. So Louise and team, would you like to come up to the podium and say hello and share about all the amazing things happening this week?
Thank you so much, Commissioners. I've brought G. Weisgarber with me. She's one of the coordinators at the branch. So I'm going to let G start. We just want to go through, obviously there's a lot of changes at the ranch and public access and some of the ADA changes.
Well, we thought we were going to do a big presentation here, so I brought all kinds of material. But just wanted to let you know that we do have a lot of construction changes, and all of the access points have changed out there. We've done extensive research and conversations amongst ourselves, the Lerner County Sheriff's Office. Our BEST is our parking and security company, and over the last few weeks we've developed what we believe are very good plans for ingress and egress for both competitors as well as the public. So you will see lots of signage, lots of direction, and we should have a very smooth and accurate fair. I hope everybody can come out, and it's a lot of fun. So.
Yes, so just elaborating on G's area, one of the comments we got last year that we needed to address was to make sure that we had additional ADA. So we've turned where the BEC is versus the North Hall, which is Gate 2. We have a large ADA lot there. Directly behind that is Lot C. We've turned that, almost half of it, into ADA. We'll also run a shuttle through that area to assist people to get into the fair. So there are some changes there. We're also doing an extensive social media push as well, so people can find out the information if they'd like to hop on Facebook or our website. Just quickly, I'm just going to revisit all the entertainment, if that's okay. The livestock show, so everybody knows for the things that happen for the children with 4-H. We're doing Friday, we have dairy goats at 8 p.m., market goats at 1 p.m. Saturday, we do sheep from 11, 12, and 1 to 4 p.m. We do rabbits from 1 to 5 p.m., swine at 4 p.m., beef, cattle from 7 p.m. Sunday, we do swine again at 9:30. 12 o'clock, a fun one, Dress-Up Bunny. So if you want to come see Dress-Up Bunny, it's very cute. It's on the concourse in the MAC. Then we do beef cattle again at 7 p.m. Monday, beef cattle from 9 a.m. 1 o'clock, we do dairy cattle on Monday. And Tuesday at 10 a.m. we do the round robin, which is a collection of all the species. And then on the Wednesday, we have the livestock sale. Also, we have the entertainment. I'm just going to run over what happens every day. So Ninja Nation, the bounce houses are free, along with the Everblocks, kindly donated by the City of Loveland. We call that the children's sort of corral area, ranchland. So all of those activities are free and managed by our volunteers. And then the carnival is our partner, and they run that down in Lot G. You can't miss it. We have 30 rides this year and a brand new one called the Kraken. So the teenagers will love that. Then we also have the watering hole. We're slightly larger this year with a mechanical bucking bull. It also is going to play host to our 140th anniversary party on Saturday at 3 p.m. Everyone is welcome to join us. We also have the stage. Community stage will just be Saturday with some fun acts during the daytime, 11 until 3. And then the stage will play host to all of our bands every evening. Friday, again, we open with the Jan Iron Indigenous dancers and their children in their traditional costume. We're doing a welcome and blessing ceremony, and everybody's welcome to join that. And then we have fireworks only on Friday and Saturday night at 9 p.m. because starting Sunday night, we go straight into the rodeo. So the rodeo then is Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday evenings. Some new entertainment we have is Play with Gravity, which is a motorcycle act. which is in between the MAC and the Budweiser Event Center on the grounds. Next to that, we have a Nerf Turf Fun Nerf Arena, so kids can get together with some friends and have a little Nerf Turf war. That should be fun. Also, Jeff Boy's Big Bubble Bonanza. He's a Guinness World Book of Records, as I said that right. So he's going to be doing that for the younger children, capturing them in bubbles and playing with bubbles. Again, we have the sensory time from 2 to 4 p.m. That's predominantly targeting a younger market. All the bounce houses, Ninja Nation, Carnival with No Sound will be there. We have 22 partners this year. No Code Pediatrics, Iron Horse, and Autism Colorado have been huge partners on that. So a big thank you to them. But everything is on our website, and there's schedules for each day.
I was just going to tag into Louise's comment about ADA earlier to one of our feedback from last year was how it was challenging to navigate through the barns, which is where I really focus. I kicked off my boots to put on a dress today. But with that, you'll find we've got ADA seating now, as well as more friendly aisleways, and also more parking on each side of the barns as well. So hope you'll come and see the livestock and horses as well as the carnival.
Yes, and we're also doing a big E. coli push. So if anybody is being involved with any of the animals, we remind you to not take any food or eat food in the barns. Wash your hands upon entry and wash your hands upon exit. Same with the petting zoos.
And your carriage rides.
And the carriage rides.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you. And appreciate you guys coming today and sharing all this information. I have to say, I woke up this morning to the radio, and it was a ad for the Fair and Rodeo. I was so excited, and it talked about the big anniversary year, and I was like, what a great way to start the day. I'm seeing they're sharing all that. So yeah, if you would like to share about that too.
Yes, I almost forgot. I have the bag right in front of me. So our first 1,000 people every day that comes into the ranch, we'll be handing these out at our CIG booth. They're our media partner, and they do a lot of our social media and all of our press releases for us. They have a booth right in front of our main entrance. Also at the information shack, we'll be able to get these. There's 1,000 of them each day. We'll also hand them out at the anniversary party. We have little pins.
Oh, great. I'm looking forward to the anniversary party. It's going to be very exciting. Colleagues, do you have any comments or questions for Louise? And is it Jenna?
It's G.
G. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Stevens.
Sure. Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Being part of the fair board, I'm familiar with a lot of the things. And it's been great to see the progress. And I know it's been a big year and a lot of work. So I appreciate everyone at the fairgrounds and everyone at the ranch for all the work that you've done. A question, or I just wanted to remind folks, I guess, about the sensory room. Could you talk about the room that's available?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Sure.
We used to have the mother's room located in what we call the Larimer County Conference Center area, which is attached to the South Hall. So that's where our open class is. We've now moved that to the volunteers area, which will be down in the McKee building. It makes it more accessible for the volunteers to help the mothers. And in place of the mother's room, we now have a sensory room. Sensory room's being kindly decked out by Iron Horse, NOCO Pediatrics, and Colorado Autism. And in there, it'll be activities for children, or if you have a moment yourself that you need to take a break from fair, it'll have mood lighting, it'll be quiet. It's a space where you can get away from the loud sounds. It should be very helpful to a lot of people. If you also have children who are a little bit out of control, well, they can be out of control up and down in the corridor there as well. So it's a place for mum maybe to get a bit of a break, or for them as well.
Yeah, we've all become overwhelmed at some points in our
Yes.
lives. So I think that's great that we have that room. And then kind of wanted to remind people that the Budweiser Center has a little bit of an upgrade. And so.
Oh, yes, we have brand new seats. The suites have also been all upgraded completely with new small kitchenettes, new granite, new seating. We're pretty excited about it. So, new seats, yes. The seats are also sensory color friendly. We used to have quite a maroon color, and we've since discovered that sensory being more neutral colors is more accessible to them as well.
Oh, nice. That part I didn't even know. But I have Commissioner Shattuck McNally and I did get to try out the seats, and they're pretty comfy. So if you go to the rodeo, you'll have a comfy seat. So just want to say thank you. Hope everybody comes out to the fair. Thanks for reminding folks about when the livestock shows are. There's also the McKee building that has all the 4-H exhibits. So you can see how hard all the kids have worked, and there's some amazing displays. You won't believe the kind of cakes these young 4-Hers can make, or things that they can sew. So I would encourage families to run over to the McKee building. And I mean, the great thing about the fair is that, I mean, almost except for the rodeo and the carnival, everything is free. Is that right?
The only other two things, which are two new things, which is the mechanical bull, because it's a partner, also Nerf Turf, because it's a partner as well. But good thing on the McKee exhibit building, we also have the dairy bar in there, which supports the McKee children as well. So pop down and get some ice cream and dairy products.
Yes, it's all 4-Hers volunteers working at the dairy bar. So if you are looking for maybe sometimes less expensive option that helps the 4-H program, go to the dairy bar. They do have ice cream for sure.
Yes.
Thank you. Well, thanks for your work. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Kafalis.
Thank you, and I just want to express my gratitude to you, Louise and Jean, and your entire team. This is, I believe, it's the 140th anniversary of the fair and the 75th anniversary of the rodeo, so it's very exciting. In the beginning of your presentation, Louise, you used a couple of acronyms. I think we're all familiar with ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act. Then you referenced BEC. Could you tell us
Budweiser Event Center, sorry.
and could you go back and tell us what is being done on the north end of that so to accommodate folks with ADA needs? I thought did you reference the two were together? So what?
Yeah, so in Lot C, which is directly behind our current ADA parking, we've striped the ground with additional ADA parking, and we'll also be running shuttles right through that, so that should be able to help people get better access into the fair.
Thank you for clarifying that. And also regarding the sensory fair day, or the 2 hours on Monday, August 7th, that are dedicated to being open to folks with sensory issues. I'm grateful for that as well, and appreciate your openness to thinking about how we might accommodate veterans who have sensory issues. When I mentioned about this at the Veterans Together meeting a week or so ago, there was a lot of interest because, as we all know, veterans sometimes have issues with loud noises and things of that nature. So I'm glad that the email from Connor suggested that you will have more discussions about that.
Yes.
And see how we might accommodate the needs of veterans in the future. And there's a big emphasis on inclusion. The welcome and ground blessing, I think, is on Friday at 4 o'clock, and that's always a really amazing event. And my hope is that there will be at least one or two carnival rides that I might be able to partake in that won't make me terribly dizzy.
Well, they do have a new children's ride, but it's called the Slime Buckets, but it's the teacup style ride, so you might get dizzy on that one.
I guess I'll just walk around.
Maybe the Ferris wheel. We have two.
Maybe. Thank you. Thanks for your good work.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Oh, I have a couple of questions. Sorry. Sorry, Commissioner. As a chair, I'd like to let you go first, and I'd like to just have a couple of questions. Could you remind me? I just have the opportunity to ask questions too. The wedding, the Dress the Bunny time was, that kind of sparked my curiosity.
Dress the Bunny is Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m.
Okay, thank you. It's going to
That'll
be a busy
on
day.
The main concourse of the Macarena, not back in the barn area.
Oh, okay, that's helpful.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. Yeah, appreciate you sharing that. And then as the rodeo liaison, I'm looking forward to all the activities with the 75th anniversary of the rodeo and all the activities. And I think on Veterans Military Night, on the first night of the rodeo, there'll be an opportunity to fundraise for a veterans organization that helps veterans get outdoors and recover from traumatic brain injuries and other behavioral health issues, and I think that's going to be a Dunk law enforcement officer outside of the rodeo. So I want to make sure everyone knows as they come into the rodeo that night around the fair, that's for a fundraiser for locally co-founded from a woman veteran that's trying to help folks recover as she did from a traumatic injury serving our country. So I will not be in that dunk tank, but I know some of our chiefs and others might be there. So I would mention that too, that you can come and help raise money and have a little fun. So I wanted to share that all with you. So, and then I just want to say thank you. I know you guys, along with Commissioner Stevens and all of us with our rodeo board, thank you to the Fair Board and the rodeo board, all the volunteers. There was just so much time and energy put into this, and even a lot extra this year with the confluence of the 140th anniversary of the fair and the 75th of the rodeo and the 20th of the anniversary of the Ranch Events Complex. A very special year, and I know you all have done some extra work with the details, making it extra special. I want to just express my gratitude to you and all of your team and Connor McGrath and our volunteers. It's going to be a really special time. So I encourage everyone. There's something for everyone at the Fair and Rodeo, and it's a great community event. So I encourage you to go, and just thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Lorinda, did you want to add anything?
I think you all have said most everything, but it is a short time period where you hold the fair, but it is a year's worth of planning. And so we know all the work that you all do and all the volunteers do, and please express appreciation to them. We could not do the fair without the volunteers or, of course, with staff. So thank you.
Thank you.
And if you're interested, it's already in full swing for the 4-H, so you can come on out at any time. We've got horses, and we'll be competing. We have already been dogs and rabbits.
Dogs fashion reviews
poultry,
already
off we go.
happened as well, and we're registering everyone in open class late tonight.
Yeah.
And first thing in the morning we do horticulture. So
Absolutely.
lots of
Thank you again.
Thank you. We'll look forward to walking through the barns. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Thank you so much. Okay. So we'll move on, and we are going to do a little change in our agenda order for our discussion items, and this is to accommodate a request from one of our guests who needs to go first and head out for a scheduling issue. So I apologize to Vanessa and team, but we're going to move you down to number 2, and we are going to invite Josh Fudge, our Performance Budget and Strategies Director, and I hope I'm getting that down correctly, to invite Joy from the United Way of Larimer County to talk about the grant project implemented by United Way of Larimer County that was funded by our Immediate Needs Grant Program. Josh, I'll hand it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Once again, Josh Fudge, Director of Performance, Budget, and Strategy. Continuing our series, bringing up our Immediate Needs Grantee Award winners. This grant was provided to the United Way of Larimer County, who identified a need for the nonprofit community here in the county. When the pandemic was going on and the impacts were first met, it was really nonprofit organizations that stepped in and helped out with a lot of the impacts to the community of the pandemic. And so United Way's project was to help those nonprofits build up their capacity to seek grants and provide those services. So with that, I will invite Joy Sullivan to the podium to talk about their program.
Good morning, commissioners, county staff, and I also extend gratitude to Vanessa and your team for allowing me to go first and get back to the office. I'm Joy Sullivan. Some of you might know me as Deirdre, but have changed the name, so no one needs to worry about how it's pronounced anymore. And I'm thrilled and honored to be here just to share some outcomes from the Immediate Needs Grant that you granted United Way. We were thrilled to partner with the county in the distribution of these dollars, and we're able to pair it with some of our philanthropy funds to not only administer this program, but provide general operating supports to some of the small grassroots organizations. So in February of 2022, we were awarded $60,000 to implement a dual cohort, so two different learning groups program. So the first group was a grant readiness cohort, and these were small grassroots nonprofits in our community. And as Josh said, doing some of the most critical work during the pandemic, bilingual vaccine access, grassroots support to some of our most impacted communities. And so when we brought them together to really identify what their primary needs were, it was getting their organizations ready and creating an infrastructure to apply for future funding. A lot of the particularly government funding was not within reach because of the requirements and regulations. And so we contracted with a consultant who is a federal grant expert named Dondra Ward, and she provided one-on-one support as well as group training around grant readiness, how to apply for funds. And we, as I mentioned, also were able to compensate these agencies for their time. Because when you're a one-person show running a critical direct service organization, there aren't very many opportunities to get compensated to go get professional development, and that was really important. The second group we called the Culture of Equity, and this was a way to share limited resources with a larger group of more established nonprofits that were really committed to better understanding principles of diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice. So we contracted with Karanda Ziegler, a local equity consultant, and she provided both one-on-one support to each of these organizations as well as online group supports. Next slide. So this is just a highlight of the topics that we covered in each of those cohorts. And as I mentioned, the grant readiness was all about securing ongoing funding in the future. And the participating organizations you can see there. And again, these are community-led nonprofits that are small, serving our Black, Indigenous, people of color communities, other Hispanic, Latinx communities, and other communities that are really disproportionately impacted by the pandemic. Next slide. And then the culture of equity, the content was, again, DEIJ principles, cycle of socialization, understanding white supremacy culture and how it shows up in our nonprofit sector, and how to really establish that culture of equity within their organization. And so the participants of that, you can read there, were Alternatives to Violence, CASA, Children's Speech and Reading Center, Homeward Alliance, Meals on Wheels, Project Self-Sufficiency, and the Matthews House. So our objectives, I won't read these out all to you, but essentially we wanted to measure the success of this with some tangible objectives. And for the grant readiness cohort, we exceeded those objectives, and we're really happy about that. 89% felt more prepared to seek grant funds and actually had applied for new grant funding by the end of the year. And then the culture of equity, we didn't hit the targets for that, and I think it was largely due to the fact that it was all on Zoom. And you all know, like, the content of diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, and understanding some of this Zoom is probably the least agreeable format for that. So we're looking forward to doing more of this in person, but we did, 67% is not a bad outcome. And just a couple of quotes. I won't read these out loud in the interest of time, but I thought it was important to include. We've done follow-up assessments with every participant just to get their perspective and our future work. And so we had a couple of positive quotes that I embedded in here, and you can just see how appreciative both sets of cohorts were for this training. So I think what's most exciting is that this has really allowed us to demonstrate a partnership with the county for future work. And it's informing how United Way will move forward in the future of really centering equity, working in partnership with these high impact organizations that are community led, and sharing resources among the nonprofit sector. And so we will be continuing to do these kind of trainings. I'm also participating in a newly forming nonprofit sector partnership. I'm not sure if you're familiar, but the Chamber here in Fort Collins has launched several sector partnerships for different industries, and the nonprofit sector is emerging. And so some of these trainings I think we will be doing through that group to even broaden the reach. And then even more excitingly, several of the participants in that grant readiness cohort will be joining us at our Oak Street Community Impact Center just down the street, and really continuing to strengthen our partnership by being under one roof and seeing what's possible for joint fund pursuit for the impact work moving forward. So we also believe that launching this program helped us qualify for being a DOLA regional access partner. So for United Way of Larimer County was selected as one of the 8 RAPs, and to help distribute up to $33 million of recovery funds. So we're hard at work, and so appreciate you all providing these catalytic funds. I think we also, our child care fund was another, we won't go into that, but that is another example of how United Way can partner with the county to distribute resources and really catalyze some much needed community programs and projects.
Thank you, Joy. Appreciate you being here today. And I know you have a time commitment, but you have a moment for just a few questions or comments from the commissioners.
Absolutely.
That would be great. So Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Joy. Thanks for explaining. You know, it's great for us. It's been a while since we distributed the funds, so it's a good reminder of what we were funding, and I think it's wonderful that's what you chose to fund, because I mean there were so many needs in the community, but enabling people to understand a grant process, I think, is a huge thing, and that's huge going forward, even past the COVID time. So one of the questions I had for you was how. Of the people who participated in the grant readiness cohort, do you know how many received grants?
I don't, and that is good follow-up information for us to collect.
Yeah, just kind of curious. I mean, knowing that grants are competitive, and it's not the way to necessarily judge the effectiveness of a program, but just out of curiosity, wondering about that. And then, yeah, I mean, the culture of equity cohort, that the equity work is so important, so I hope we can continue to do that together as well. And you know, I think of opportunities like bringing in an expert to be able to help a lot of different organizations deal with that. I mean, I think that would be really valuable. So I look forward to the work that we can do together in the future. I thank you for the work that you've done, and congratulations on being a DOLA designee. That is huge. So,
thank you.
Yeah, that's because of your hard work and your teams. So we're very grateful to have you as a partner, and thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Joy. In the interest of making sure the public knows what we're talking about, DOLA is an acronym, stands for Department of Local Affairs. So that is good news. Thank you for that. I have 2 questions and an additional comment. My first question is, on a few occasions, you use the term community-led organizations. It's a new term for me. Is that replacing community-based, or is that complementing community-based organizations?
That's a great question. I would say it's complementing, and how we define that is the people who are the staff leading the work share identities with the people who are receiving the services. So, for example, if an organization is working primarily with Latinx identifying Spanish speakers, the organization is led by somebody who shares that identity. And so in philanthropy, we're learning more and more how important that is, especially in the nonprofit sector.
Thank you. I appreciate that clarification. And my second question is, the different participating organizations, community-led organizations, were all of those 501c3s? And if not, was that part of your capacity building training to help folks navigate the sometimes challenging process of becoming a 501c3, which allows them to have tax exempt, status and that sort of thing?
Another great question. With the exception of one, I believe they were all existing 501c3s. One is working under a fiscal sponsorship and was well on their way to establishing their 501c3. So it wasn't something that the participants identified as a training desire for that particular cohort. And we really tried to have the program designed around what they identified.
Great. Thank you. Then my final comment is just thank you for the work of United Way of Larimer County. Look forward to future partnerships. As Commissioner Stevens said, it's good to be to get these updates to really find out how the money that's being invested in the community is helping to make a difference. So I appreciate that, and I also really appreciate that one of the organizations listed is Dance Express, and they've been around for a long time, and they provide a very important and unique service in our community. So I'm glad you're able to help out Mary Elizabeth a little bit.
Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners. Joy, thank you for being here today, and thanks for sharing this work. As you know, the last couple of weeks we've been trying to showcase some of our immediate needs grants and letting the folks know amazing work that has been done in our community. It's great to showcase how taxpayers' dollars to the American Rescue Plans kind of came at a great time and needed, and how we have amplified the work in the community with those grants. Excuse me. So I'm really glad to hear about how you had this with helping those nonprofits with grant writers, and Commissioner Stevens asked my question. They did it help them get more grants or help them kind of streamline their process. So I think that'd be interesting to hear about. I apologize. Took that moment to kind
Choked
of
up.
get choked. Yes, I am very choked up.
And I will. I'll see if we can gather that information and bring it back to you all.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Yeah, I'm very interested about that, and congratulations on the Department of Local Affairs. I think the DOLA designation is huge, and it's great to hear about connections that you're making and amplifying the work, and how thanks for showcasing the other partnership with the Child Care Fund, because that was a really critical need at that time too. So I'm really proud of our partnership and really grateful for the work that we do together and the work that your organization's doing. It's critical as we still are in this transition phase and making sure that the recovery is widespread and no one's left behind, and that our marginalized communities are addressing their needs, because there were unique needs during this unprecedented time. And so it's just great that you're looking at that, and I look forward to learning more. So appreciate that very much. So in the interest of time, I'll ask Lorenda if I could say more. I think there's a lot of great things to celebrate here, but I'll ask Lorenda if she had any comments. And if you don't mind, we started this precedent in the last few weeks where we've been recognizing these immediate need grant recipients with a quick photo that we will put along with the story. And I think it's really important to share our stories and understand so let the taxpayers and our residents know that we're hard at work, and that this money had great impact, and how it's still ongoing and rippling on and doing great things in the community. So Lorenda, do you have anything you'd like to add?
I do. I think this is a great example of taking the federal funds to raise our community, and then magnifying them by helping other organizations to raise our community, especially the grant cohort, and then the values cohort around equity, inclusion. I think, rising tide raises all ships, and that's exactly what you did. You invested in our community using these dollars to leverage what United Way does best. And so thank you for that. Thank you for this work, and I'm anxious to hear what happens with the sector partnership related to nonprofits. I think that is a great opportunity that kind of bloomed out of this kind of effort that you do. So thank you, Joy.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, for those in the public, we're just going to take a brief moment and take a quick photo op in my rodeo gear. So, and because I got my anniversary belt buckle on, and we're going to take a quick photo with you, and then we'll come back and have up our proclamation for Child Support Awareness Month. So for those joining us online, you feel give us a moment. We'll return momentarily. Thank you. Lorinda, that we're amplifying the work, and I think it's great that we have a local nonprofit that we were able to support and help build capacity for everyone to help better serve our community. I think it's a really great opportunity. So thank you all for joining us today. Again, thanks for the momentary pause as we took a quick photo with United Way and Joy Sullivan. And now I will ask Vanessa Fuel from Human Services to come up and share about our proclamation that August is Child Support Awareness Month. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for having me today. And it was great to hear from our community partner, who is also a partner of the Department of Human Services. As you said, I'm Vanessa Fuel. I'm the Division Manager with the Benefits and Community Support Division within the Department of Human Services. We are here to celebrate Child Support Awareness Month. And to orient you a bit to the department, we have 5 divisions within the Department of Human Services. I feel like I'm very loud. And Benefits and Community Support is one of those. So within the Division of Benefits and Community Support, we have the eligibility programs for public assistance, so food, medical, and cash assistance. We have the case management services that go with those programs. And we also have our child support unit. Child support is made up of 30 professionals who help more than 7,000 families navigate the process of child support. And as you can imagine, they're working with families in some of the most difficult moments of their lives, and sometimes for more than 20 years. Those cases can remain open for a very long time. So they are interacting with families and developing relationships with families for a really significant time period. And as people's lives change, their case needs change. So they're interacting with them repeatedly over and over throughout the course of that case. So I'm excited to be here today with our Deputy Division Manager, Nancy Kelly. And she's going to share, and some of our leadership team from the child support team. And Nancy's going to share with you some of the accomplishments of this incredible unit.
Hi, so I'm Nancy Kelly. I am the Deputy Division Manager for Benefits and Community Support, and Child Support is one of the units that I oversee. I'm going to take just a minute and introduce my leadership team. So my Child Support Managers are Shelley Perez, Carlene Johnston, Matt McMullen, and then we have our Senior Child Support Technicians, Tim Jasinski, I can never say your name right, Tim Jasinski, close enough, Jennifer Brandt, and Mandy Lujan. And so within child support, we have made a lot of progress in the last year. As you all know, the pandemic has been really rough on our community, and it did impact child support as well. But at our Colorado Family Support Conference, which happened last week, Larimer County Child Support received 4 awards from our state partners. We received an award for meeting all 3 CSDAT measures, and those would be timeliness of case initiation, percent of cases with a disbursement on hold, and timeliness of review and adjustment. So just to give you a little bit of information about those measurements, case initiation is basically when we receive an application or a referral from TANF, getting that case initiated on our child support system and start either the establishment or the enforcement process. The state goal is 80%, and our performance on that measurement for federal fiscal year 2022 was 95.2% of cases were initiated within 20 days. As a result of that, we improved in that measurement by almost 9% from the previous federal fiscal year, and won an award for most improved large county in that measurement as well. For review and adjustment, that is basically reviewing and modifying a child support obligation to reflect the current circumstances of the party. The CSTAT measurement refers really just to those cases that are modified administratively. So we have 100% control of those, do those in the office, and the goal is 95% of those are modified within 180 days. We were 100% for all of federal fiscal year 2022. As part of that measurement is also those cases that are modified through our court system, and we kind of call those combined modification. The goal on that is 90% of those cases are modified within 180 days, and our 2022 number was 96%. Which was an increase of 8% over the previous year. So we're seeing a lot of improvement in those areas. We also received an award for most improved on our disbursements on hold measurement. The state goal was to have less than 4.2% of our cases have a disbursement on hold. And that means that we have money that we have not yet disbursed out to the person to whom it's owed. So sometimes it's a refund to the paying parent, and sometimes it's money that really should be going out to the parent who has custody of the children, and we just don't have a good address for them. We reduced that number from a little over 5% down to 1.8%. And we're then the most improved large county in that measurement. And the last one is our most improved on collection of current support. So all of Colorado saw a huge decrease between 2021 and 2022 because the pandemic unemployment ended. However, we saw most of the large counties decreasing in their collection of current support by 3 to 4%. We decreased less than 1%. And since that time, we have increased our year-to-date collection of current support from 61-ish% to 63.3%. And also really importantly is our pass-through dollars. So those are our dollars that we pass through to our participants who are on TANF. We've increased since federal fiscal year 2022 by 52% in that area. So we are at over $500,000 in excess pass-through for this year. So all of that is just really great for our community and for our families, and it really reflects the hard work of our leadership team and every single person in our child support department.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing all that, and congratulations. Just amazing. I will let our colleagues make some comments, and if that's all you have to present. But then I'll have Commissioner Stevens to read the proclamation and make the motion. And so first I'll start with Commissioner Cafalas, if you'd like to make some comments or ask some questions, sir.
Yes, I would. First of all, thank you for sharing all the good news regarding metrics. That's really important. I'm very pleased regarding the temporary assistance to needy families, TANF, pass-through and the great success we've had there over the years. I think a fundamental question that I wish to ask is, why is it important for the custodial parent and the child or children to receive the child support from the non-custodial parent. Why is that important?
So there are two reasons why it's important. First, it's financial stability for the family. So having that increased funding to the child really gives that child a better foundation. And studies have shown that children who receive support consistently from both parents really have better outcomes in life, both in terms of their education and in terms of their own economic mobility. The other piece is that parents who are consistently paying child support are more likely to have an ongoing relationship with their children, which also really improves child outcomes. So we focus not just on the collection of support, but we focus on the really bringing the whole family together into engaging in the process. And to the extent that the parties would like to have parenting time, we help them. We can't do parenting time ourselves, it's a federal limitation, but we do have referral processes and really encourage them sharing that parenting time.
Thank you. I think that's important to express and articulate. Just a quick follow-up regarding the second reason why it's important to collect child support. Are we able to track in any way how that correlation between, being engaged as a non-custodial parent with the caretaker and the kids, how that correlation, that it improves the chances of appropriate engagement? Can we track that? Is it?
It's really hard to track.
Okay.
We do have a smaller caseload where we are working with directly with individuals to help them resolve barriers to paying their child support, and we're able to track it on that small scale. But across 7,000 cases, we really don't have the ability to track that.
Do we still run that? We used to have something like a fatherhood program, or because not always, but most of the time, the non-custodial parent is a father. Do we still have that or something like that to help folks learn the skills?
So not yet,
Oh,
but it's in the works.
okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens, I'm going to ask, May you can do your comments, and then I'll do mine. I'll have Lorinda, and then May you read the proclamation, make the motion then. Would that be okay?
Sure, that's
Great,
fine.
thank you.
Yeah, I don't have too many questions. I just appreciate the work that all of you do. Thank you, Nancy and your team, and Vanessa for being here. We know that single parents with children often live in poverty in so many of these situations. So this is a way to lift people out of poverty too. So these dollars are crucial. The relationship obviously is important between the non-custodial parent and the child. But it also, honestly relieves some of the burden of the county to as far as the benefits that we're giving out. It's not that we don't want to give benefits, but the people who are responsible also need to do their share, and you make sure that happens. And so that's a really important piece in a child's life, is to make sure that they have some financial security, that they're not wanting for things that they should have as a and so this is such great work, and it's very unsung. It's, I'm sure it's not glamorous work by any means, and I'm sure it's really tough in many, many cases. But you all got $18 million to these families last year. That's awesome. That's definitely something to celebrate. That's really good work. That's changing the outcomes. That's changing people's lives. That's changing kids' lives. That's giving them more opportunity to succeed in life. So that's amazing. Thank you all. That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. I echo a lot of what Commissioner Stevens stated, but I do think you are unsung heroes. The work you do is transformational for these families and these children, and it's life-changing. It's their future. It kind of helps that foundation, and really could change the trajectory of their lives. And I just want to say that my heartfelt gratitude, because I don't think folks in the community understand the work you do. It's just valuable and just immeasurable, the benefits and the importance of this. And a lot of what Commissioner Stevens stated was what I was going to say about, just all these things that are tangible and of things that we can't measure, but are really critical. I just wanted to congratulate you again on 4 awards. Wow. And the numbers, the 95%, just outstanding, amazing. And $18 million. I mean, wow, that's a lot of money into our community to help with families. So I think Commissioner Stevens stated very well. It's also helped a benefit for the county. So I just want to just thank you, Vanessa, for bringing your team here today and bringing this proclamation forward. I really value your leadership and your work, and I just want to thank you because you have been a long-term, dedicated, and hardworking leader in our county, and I just want to recognize your dedication and your work because you're amazing. I want to just ask, I think it's pretty cool, just did you color coordinate today? Because
yes, green is the color.
That's what I
for
thought.
Child Support Awareness Month.
Okay.
So we did coordinate.
Well-
We'll all be wearing green today.
So I thought so, and so I thought I would ask, just make sure I was correct, but I Googled this, I thought, okay, child awareness, and it is green, and so that's great, and I guess that's fuzzy money maybe, I don't know, so, but I think that's amazing, and kudos to your team, and just the work together. I can see you're a very tight, cohesive team, and thank you all. You know, I always say, I'm lucky commissioners, you've probably heard of me just being over exuberant at a new employee orientation, but you know, this kind of amazing place. We have great programs, but we wouldn't be anywhere without the amazing, hardworking, dedicated staff who do the work in the trenches and serve our communities every day. You are the reason this is an amazing place to live and work, and thank you all for the work that you do because you're really helping children and families, and I just wanted to tell you how much I value you all. So, Lorenda, would you like to add on to this?
You know, I will, because I think this is one of those hidden services that the county provides to the community that I don't know that folks really understand happens at the county level. The work you all do is so important for families, and you do it for 20 years. I don't think I've heard that metric before, that sometimes these cases go on a very long time. You know, they are important to the survival of families and to the connection of families to each other. So I will say thank you for what you do. It's hard work, and it is very much appreciated. It's great to celebrate you today.
Thank you, Lorenda. So, Commissioner Stevens, thank you for reading the proclamation and making that motion.
Yes, Madam Chair. So this is the Larimer County Proclamation for Child Support Awareness Month. Whereas financial and emotional support from both parents is an important component of child success, and whereas children also receive support from caregivers, which helps play an important role in supporting the health and well-being of the child, and whereas the support of parents, extended families, caregivers, and the community helps children grow into productive adults, and whereas Larimer County is committed to promoting the health and well-being of all its children by providing a variety of family-centered child support services to help ensure that parents receive child support on a regular and timely basis. And whereas the payment of child support contributes to improved parent-child relationships, improved educational attainment for children, and reduced reliance on public assistance programs. And whereas this month we salute those parents and caregivers who provide financial and emotional support to their children and honor the 30 child support professionals who collected more than $18 million for families in Larimer County in federal fiscal year 2022. And whereas Larimer County wishes to educate families about the availability of child support services and to continuously enhance the services that it provides with innovative initiatives aimed at meeting the needs of all family members. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the Board of County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim August 2023 as Child Support Awareness Month in Larimer County.
Thank you, Commissioner. If you'll make the motion, please. Thank you.
I will. Switching papers. Let's see. What's the first time? There we go. Sorry. I move to approve the proclamation declaring August 2023 as Child Support Awareness Month.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further deliberation or discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 Great, 3-0, and congratulations. If we're going to again pause to take a quick picture and photo because this is a big deal, and hold the proclamation up, and I will sign it right now so you can take it, and I'll see if Tessa could maybe sign it while we're doing that, and just very excited to be this. So we'll be back momentarily. Thank you. Okay, thank you all for joining us or giving us a pause to celebrate the proclamation as August 2023 as Child Support Awareness Month. We are now moving on through our discussion items, and I wanted to just, we're going to move on to a grant project implemented by La Casina, funded by the Larimer County Immediate Needs Grant. But before you bring them up, Mr. Fudge, I just want to say also our item number 4, which would have been another grant project implemented with the Immediate Needs Grant. Bistro Natil was not able to come today, so we're going to reschedule that, but I just thought I'd go ahead and get that out of the way. So Josh, I'll let you introduce our next grant recipient.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Once again, providing a presentation on Immediate Needs Grant. This grant was provided to La Cocina. As you're aware, during the pandemic, there were some significant behavioral health impacts in our community. And so La Cocina stepped forward with a project to provide behavioral health resources in the Latina community. And so I will introduce Buffy Trent from La Cocina to describe their project.
Thank you, Josh, and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about the way we use the immediate needs funding for behavioral health services for the Latino folks here in Larimer County. As you said, my name is Buffy Trent and Wolf. I added Wolf as a last name. I am a clinical psychologist at La Cocina, and I'm the associate director of our parental, infant, and early childhood mental health services. So I'll talk a little bit about the services that La Cocina provides, and a huge focus of ours is supporting young children and families here in Larimer County. My background also is in multicultural psychology and Latina mental health. So let me tell you a little bit about La Cocina. You may have heard of us, I hope you have, but may not know explicitly what types of services that we provide. We're a nonprofit mental health and social justice agency founded here in Fort Collins in 2016. So Larimer County really is our heart and our home. Our office is on East Oak Street, so if you ever want to pop in and visit us, that's where I work. I'd be happy to show you around. Our space is really beautiful. And so we have been around, like I said, since 2016 and have actually since that time expanded across Colorado. We now offer services in 5 different counties, and we have an office in Denver. But a huge chunk of our resources are still applied directly here in Larimer County. As you can see, we envision Latina communities that thrive, liberated from oppression. That's part of our North guiding star as we think about how to implement services within this community. And our purpose is to elevate Latina-centered knowledge that heals and transforms the lives and communities of those most impacted by inequity and trauma. So when you think about the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic, as previous presenters have mentioned, there was a huge disproportionate impact on the Latina community. And so when I think about the immediate needs funding specific to 2022, as we were starting to think about how do we transition out of this pandemic space in the world of behavioral mental health, that funding was really, really, really important to our team as we invested with that within the community. And so let me tell you a little bit about our team, because I think that's really helpful context. We have a multidisciplinary, multilingual, multicultural team. We have folks who are from a variety of countries across North, Central, and South America, speak Spanish, Portuguese, English as first languages, but our clinical team is fully bilingual. So all of the services that we provide are provided in Spanish and English and Spanglish when that's needed. We also have a range, our clinical team is comprised of marriage and family therapists, social workers, other psychologists, trainees, which is a huge part of our focus on capacity building, which I'll talk a little bit more in a second. And this immediate needs funding went directly in support of that clinical team. So to hire some clinical staff so that we could work on expanding, as Josh said, the services here in Larimer County. And we think about mental health behavioral services a little bit outside of the box. So it's not just providing therapy. If you want to go to the next slide, I'll talk a little bit about that. So when we put money into our clinical team, those providers are engaging in a range of services that are outside of just individual therapy room. We know that individual therapy works for a lot of people, and it's not what everyone needs. And so we try to think of how can we support our community in feeling connected and accompanied and thrive, as I talked about, in the way that we envision this county. And so thinking about our clinical services, we do have psychotherapy, we have individual therapy. I mentioned all of our providers are bilingual. We provide services to young children and families and youth and couples. So really across the gamut. We have psychoeducational parenting groups. I'm not sure if any of y'all are familiar with Circle of Security Parenting, but that's a curriculum that we've used here in Larimer County. It's translated into Spanish. Our community has really responded to this curriculum, and we've offered these groups virtually and in person over the last couple of years, and are starting to think of new ways to offer abbreviated services as well in a way that helps folks who maybe just really need some connection and a little bit of information but can't commit to 8 weeks when maybe their work or life schedule is constantly in flux. So this third point that you'll see, neurodevelopmental evaluations, I'll say my bias here is that I'm obsessed with this service. My area of specialty is focused here, and this is my team. And so these services are also supported through Larimer County Behavioral Health funding as well. And so this last year we've been piloting, a neurodevelopmental evaluation program here specifically in Larimer County that provides comprehensive therapeutic evaluation services in Spanish to young children who maybe there's a question about their development or their social emotional functioning, or maybe they've been impacted by a significant trauma, and there just aren't other providers in this area that are doing evaluations in Spanish, especially when you think about folks that can't pay for those evaluations. And in fact, the type of therapeutic evaluation service that we provided is very rare across the entire country. So I think it's really cool that we're piloting this program here in Larimer County. I think it's really great for our community, and I'm excited to see how it grows. So thinking outside of that traditional mental health, behavioral health box, we take behavioral health services more community-wide as well. And so our therapists, the funding that supports them, supports their work in our community projects. And so we have charlas and community events. So a charla in Spanish is a conversation. It's a community conversation. In fact, a couple weeks ago, we had a lovely event at the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery called Cuentos de Descubrimiento, or Stories of Discovery. And we invited families to come and share their stories. And they brought their young children. They engaged in art activities where they designed their stories, drew pictures of themselves, made book covers of their life, and shared these stories with each other and with others in the community. And we heard from some of these folks, like, I had no idea there were other Latino folks here, other recent immigrants here that I could connect with. And that was really the spirit of the event, is allowing folks to feel seen, heard, and accompanied. And then they were able to go explore the museum, which I don't know if y'all have been there. It's super fun. So to be able to go and just accompany their children and be with community, it was really fun. And you can see this top right picture is the little buddy that was really excited to show his book, where he drew a picture of himself and was so proud to share it. Another area that we focus on is community capacity building. We also have professional capacity. Like I mentioned, we have trainees. We have one program that's nationwide. That's a professional capacity building program. But focused here in Larimer and Weld counties, this last year, we finished up a program called Somos Las Favas, which supported home-based childcare providers that are Spanish-speaking and being able to have access to culturally relevant capacity sessions in their language of their heart. And so the whole curriculum was co-designed with these women, where they told us what they wanted to learn, what they needed to learn, and we worked with them to design a 9-month curriculum that included didactic, home visitation, reflective consultation with our clinical team. And here's a picture at the bottom right from their graduation that happened this past spring. And it was really beautiful. Several of these women shared that they've never had the opportunity to participate in something like this, a graduation ceremony, and to be recognized for their work. So it was just amazing to be part of the program, and then also to see the culmination in this way. Okay, we can go to the next slide. So that's just a snippet of the services that we provide. I'd be happy to go into more detail about any of them or answer any questions. But I would encourage you all to go to our website, lacocinahome.org, which we recently revamped and updated. And so it's really beautiful and goes into a lot of detail about these different types of services that we provide here in Larimer County, but also across the state.
Wow. Thank you, Buffy. I mean, just amazing and great stories. I have a few questions, but I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Gonzalez first and see if my colleagues have questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Buffy. Appreciate how the group La Cocina has advanced since 2016. And I'm curious, 2 questions I have. Remind us again the name of the organization, La Cocina. Cocina means kitchen, but I think there is an intentionality about the founder, Jamie.
Yes, thank you.
Janina, excuse me, Janina.
Yeah, Janina Fariñas is our CEO and founder. She's amazing if you've had the chance to meet her. But you can see here, I have this quote up from Dolores Huerta. There's this myth, this story that, Dolores Huerta and Cesar Chavez used to work with migrant communities. They did a lot of work in the homes and in the kitchen, right, which is in the heart of the home. And there's a story that one day Dolores turns to Cesar Chavez and says, "Todas las revoluciones comienzan en la cocina," or all of the revolutions begin in the kitchen. So we take that to heart, and that's part of our name.
Thank you. And my second question is the story regarding the women who I think received child care training or some caretaker training and it referenced Somos las Favas.
Yeah.
Is Favas, I don't know that word. Is that Portuguese or is that some kind of metaphor with fava beans? What is
Yeah, so, well, it does, there is that nice kind of metaphor of like a bean, right, being able to grow. And it comes from an acronym, so FAVAS. I don't know if y'all are familiar with the acronym FFN, which is Friends, Family, Neighbor. So that would be how this community is often referred to in English. That title wasn't as culturally relevant for our community, and so we came up with a new acronym that is Familias, Amigas, Vecinas, Apoyándose para salir adelante. So families, friends, neighbors, supporting each other to move forward.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the
Of
work.
course.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Buffy. This is great. Here again, a great use of the dollars, really important to do this work. Obviously, we've seen a lot of mental health needs in our community, but to be able to have culturally relevant mental health services and in the language of the people's hearts is really important. So we know that there's a lack of that in our community. We know that, and the fact that you've been able to expand services around the state to 5 different counties, that's wonderful. And then obviously incorporating these FAVAs, that's just, it's above and beyond, and I really thank you for your staff for what you're doing. It's very important work as we try to, heal our communities and really try to figure out. There's a lot of people that are in crisis or struggling in certain ways, and we all need to come together to do that. But to do that in a way that's respectful and culturally relevant is really important. So I'm glad for the work, and just would be happy to come and visit on East Oak.
You're more than invited to come visit us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I echo my commissioner's comments. I was going to ask the same thing. I'd love to come tour and check it out. And just really grateful for you being here today. I'm so grateful that you applied for our grant and the great work that you're doing. Certainly 1,000% supportive of kind of your culturally affirming support that, that you're healing and transforming these lives, and this, and not only one generation but multiple generations. And I really find that gratifying, because my daughter and I really were having a lot of focus on intergenerational kind of conversations during the pandemic and right before then, and it was amazing watching the teens and older adults over the age of 60 find out they have a lot in common about certain issues like transportation or loneliness or social isolation. And so a couple of my questions about that are, first, I noticed a lot of the comments you were making about the youth and the behavioral health for youth, and then some of these older women who said they never got to participate in a ceremony. But I'm also wondering about the next generation, our older elders who are aging. Because that's a concern of mine, behavioral health and reaching out to older folks that may have had even more isolation in the last few years. What do you see or hear or see engagement from that population?
That's a really great question. I see that a lot actually in my work with the young children, and especially as we transition out of the pandemic and have been able to do more home visitation, coming much more into contact with maybe the older generations in the family that are at home and aren't leaving as much. And so a lot of these families, as I'm sure you're aware, live in multi-generation households, and so trying to think of different ways that we can engage not just the child, but the entire family. I think that's a way that we think about these services, is when a child is referred to us as the identified client, as you might say, we like to think of that more systemically in a family lens, but also a more broader community lens, which often involves these multi-generational households, or even thinking about a lot of our families have their grandparents that are still in their country of origin. And so that's part of their family stress and family trauma, is the separation from people who are really vital and important to them. And so thinking about how can we strengthen that, even though they're not here. Or if they are trying to get their family member here, which is also a common story, how are we utilizing other connections in the community to give them that resource to legal services or support so that they can do so?
That's amazing. Love to hear that. And just I pulled up your website and was just looking at some of the things and just seeing your team. I'm just blown away. I knew you guys were doing great things, but I had no idea you were into other counties and other areas of the state. And then just seeing some of these approaches, I'm certainly wanting to learn more and appreciate that. And the other connection I thought about, maybe some feedback from you all, and I'm not sure what our Department of Natural Resources would think about this, but we are expanding kind of a swim beach kind of family barbecue kind of gathering area. And it really, that is focused for our Latinx families who have really like to have barbecues and have a multi-generational gathering. And we're trying to expand that area and make it even more publicly safe as they cross the road or try to get to parking. And so I just thought, man, it might be interesting to get some feedback, because maybe some ideas of how to make it even more inclusive and welcoming. So I don't know if we can maybe just connect our DNR with this group, because I think that would be really important to kind of see how we can bring, and also make sure that your clients know about the swim beach and that it's available, and how we're really trying to make it an inclusive area and welcoming. So I thought that might be another nice connection. So I am thrilled you're here today. It's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for your work. Obviously, thrilled to hear you're also exercising the Behavioral Health Impact Grants. I'm the chair of that council, and really important work for me, and to hear that we're reaching out to some of those families, and just hearing the intergenerational component is really heartening. So thank you. Lorenda, would you like to add to this really special guest?
Just very briefly, La Cocina is a beautiful concept, and I think what you did with this grant supporting mental health for Latinx community is right in line with your mission and what you do. Not surprisingly, you do it in different ways than other organizations that treat the whole person, the whole family, the whole community. And thank you for using the grant in that way. And for all you do, you really create community. You don't just support it. Thank you
so much.
Thank you, Lorenda. And since we've done this with all of our grantees, we'd love to have a moment again and take a photo with you. And then we'll have our office to reach out and see if we can come and tour and learn some more. So if you don't mind, and again, members of the public, please give us a little bit of patience. We'll be right back. We'll take a quick photo. Thank you. Welcome back. Thank you all for giving us a brief moment of pause as we celebrated a grant project by La Cocina funded by the Larimer County Immediate Needs Grant, and we are really grateful Buffy was here today. She's the Associate Director. So now we are moving on to our fifth item of discussion, approval of the Board of Equalization referee recommendations. And I will ask Commissioner Kafalis to please make the motion to move us into convening as the Board of Equalization, please.
So moved.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are now convened as the Board of Equalization. Thank you, Elizabeth, for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, and have you
So I have a report for you all this morning for the hearings that were held from July the 18th through July 25th of 2023. So the Larimer County Board of Equalization, over that period, there were hearings held for 1,299 accounts. These include real property, mobile homes, business personal property, oil and gas, severed mineral rights, and possessory interest accounts. There were 974 hearings that were conducted over that period. Of those 1,299 accounts, 1,050 accounts were adjusted, 235 were denied, and then there were 14 accounts which were withdrawn at the petitioner's request. And then if you all would just kindly indulge me for a few moments, I'll just give you a real quick update as to where we stand on scheduling. And again, these numbers are in comparison to 2019, which was previously the historically largest year we've seen in terms of requests for hearing. So to date, we have scheduled 4,389 accounts. By comparison, in 2019 at this point, we had done 2,087 accounts. So we're pretty much doubling the number of accounts we're seeing. And then it's similar for the hearing schedule. So we've scheduled 2,686 hearings to date. And in 2019, at this point, we had scheduled 1,401 hearings, so just shy of 2%, 2 times the amount. And if you all have any questions that I can answer, I'm happy to do so.
Colleagues, do you have any questions? Commissioner Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Elizabeth, and your team. In light of the volume that you just described, my question is, are we able to accommodate all of the requests for County Board of Equalization hearings?
We have been thus far. We are running 12 boards 5 days a week from 8 in the morning till 5 p.m. So we're very grateful to our referees who have been putting in some long days and been very flexible with their time and adjusting their schedules as needed so we can meet that demand. We actually hope to, we've pretty much scheduled all the bulk of the hearings. The last hearing date, if everything goes as planned, should be this Friday. And the vast majority of hearings have been scheduled. There are 1 or 2 accounts or residents, that we've been going back and forth on and just trying to make sure that we have everybody accommodated, but we should be able to meet those needs.
Great, thank you. Just want to express appreciation for the hard work that's being done. And I know when I walk by the table out down the hall there, I forget the names of the 2 folks that are often there. They're very friendly, good smiles, very gracious. So if you could give them that feedback, I would appreciate it.
I would be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, and appreciate the work that your office is doing on this, and then, of course, the referees. One of the questions I have is there seem to be a lot of adjustments. Is it my imagination, or are there more this year than there have been in the past?
So it does seem like that there are a number of adjustments in terms of trends towards past numbers. I would defer to the assessor's office on that.
That's fine. Yeah, I will ask that question. So, and I'm sure that as they see those, they kind of look, and that helps them with their modeling and for future years. Okay. Well, then, kind of that was kind of my only question, was that there was, adjustments in the amount of $120 million, which is a significant dollar amount. And so just curious about how that will inform their work in the future. So maybe, Lorinda, you can help us kind of get some of those answers from the assessor's office. But thanks again for bringing this forward.
Sure, and I think on some of those larger adjustments, they do tend to be on commercial properties, or they tend to be properties that have been reclassified. So maybe it was something that was reclassified to agricultural or something of that nature. Those tend to be those larger adjustments.
Yeah, and that makes sense. The total dollar amount is always staggering, but we have, billions of dollars worth of property also in our community. So that's, maybe it isn't so staggering as it seems, but thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Stevens asked my question, but I also wanted to just express gratitude because I know the volume is just unprecedented, I think, and I know and appreciate that you have been trying to accommodate everyone. I know I had a few folks I sent to you just because they were they had some emergencies, and so I'm hoping that all got sorted out. But I appreciate, I know you all are trying to do whatever you can to accommodate folks, so thank you for that. And then I I know your leadership team is trying to just support everybody, and yeah, I would agree. Everyone seems to be fairly friendly and welcoming as you come in the door, so that's very nice to have. I think it is a stressful time, so I don't have anything else to add, and I think we can, unless there's other questions from our colleagues. Okay, so Commissioner Stevens, I'll ask you to make the motion to approve the recommendations.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to approve the recommendations submitted by the Board of Equalization referees for the hearings held July 18th through 25th, 2023.
Thank you for that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. And now I'll ask Commissioner Gonzalez to please make the motion to adjourn the meeting as the Board of Equalization and reconvene us as the Board of County Commissioners.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So moved.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are now reconvened as the Board of County Commissioners. So we will move on, and thank you for being here. We'll move on to our county manager update.
Thank you. I'm going to keep it pretty brief in the spirit of trying to save some time. We have an executive session following this and another one advertised at 11. I did do several external coordinations, lots of internal things as usual, but I met with Emily Seams, CSU's Associate Vice President of Community Affairs and Engagement. That was a new relationship that we are beginning to form, and they are very interested in participating in both our strategic plan, perhaps with some community conversations, connecting us to campus, both to students and to faculty. So we'll keep that in mind as an opportunity to expand how we interact with the community, and they were very welcoming about that. I also met with Fort Collins Chamber of Commerce Director Ann Hutchinson. We update each other from time to time, and we had that meeting last week. Clerk and Recorder and the Treasurer were also meetings I had last week. Both of them are working diligently on this process. Tina Harris, the clerk, was explaining to me how they were scheduling all folks in time so that perhaps they wouldn't have to have referees working on a Saturday. And it looks like, according to Elizabeth, that did occur, so that's good news. And then Lori Cadridge, the Assistant County Manager, and I met with the other area managers and our emergency management team. We are planning a regional elected official policy level tabletop sometime in the fall. I think that'll be a really good exercise. Emergencies and disasters don't typically happen, at a city limit or a county limit. And so understanding how we work together, who might take the lead on what part, it will be, I think, a very interesting experience. And so we're beginning to plan that, and that's exciting to us. And then, of course, we met with our state and federal legislators Friday of last week, and I'm sure you all will talk more about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenda. Any questions for Lorenda? Okay, we'll start with Commissioner Gonzalez for Commissioner activity reports.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And again, in the interest of time, since we're scheduled for 11 o'clock, I'll do my best to be brief. Participated in a CBS television interview last Monday with two other colleagues to shed light on the behavioral health crisis as it affects children and youth and with high levels of care needs. We had the North Fort Collins Business Association meeting on Wednesday, and the main presentation there was from the Fort Collins Police Services. They have their HOPE, which is Homeless Outreach and Proactive Engagement Team, and that's headed by Sergeant Annie Hill. That was very interesting, and as you can imagine, spirited discussion. On Thursday, we had our Red Feather Lakes community conversation. The county assessor was there, Bob Overbeck, as well as our performance budget and strategy director, Josh Fudge. There were about 30 people gathered, and it was a good meeting. And then there was the Red Feather Lakes PAC meeting after that. Discussions about their efforts to secure signatures with the ability to possibly put on the November 2024 ballot a ballot measure to form a public improvement district to help with the public restroom facilities. We had the luncheon with the legislators. I'm sure folks can talk more about that. That was on Friday. Then Saturday we had the parade. We all participated. It was fun. A couple of us went to the Museo de las Tres Colonias. They had a gazebo dedication, and I'm glad that we were able to be there. And then finally, we traveled up to the, and I believe Commissioner Stevens was there, the LaPorte Festival on Saturday. It was an all-day festival. It looked like a really great turnout. And one thing that was really cool is we had our LaPorte Area Planning Advisory Committee, our LAPAC, and they had set up a table. There was, county information there. I put out some brochures about the fair and rodeo. But they had two poster boards, and they had sticky notes. What do you like about LaPorte? What would you like to see improved regarding LaPorte? And there was a lot of activity there, so that was a very good thing and a very positive thing. And then I was able to meet with various folks, and I wound up staying longer than I had anticipated. But it was very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. So Monday, I was still at the NACO conference voting for our county on some of the NACO leadership. On Wednesday, we had the Fair Board, and just wanted to really acknowledge the Fair Board. I mean, the Fair is a big production, and of course, we have a lot of county staff that do that. But our Fair Board contributes hundreds of volunteer hours, and I mean hundreds and hundreds of volunteer hours, putting on the Queen's Barbecue and the Queen's Program, the parade, the pancake breakfast. They coordinate all the volunteers for the fair, and they run the livestock sale. And this is a group of only like 11 people that do all this. And they are now logging their hours, which is really good. So hopefully by the end of fair, we'll have a number of how many hours they put on. And also the Queen. I mean, the Queen every meeting logs how many miles she's driven. And I think on behalf of the county, representing the county in different rodeos and programs across the state, she's put on almost 3,000 miles on her vehicle visiting and representing the county. So a remarkable group of people. They do really hard work. They were at the parade at 6 and they probably didn't leave till 3. And so that's the kind of days that they put in on behalf of the county. So really just want to acknowledge that the work that they do. I had my non-attainment area air pollution mitigation meeting. We're looking at possibly starting to get out funding for communities that are struggling with their low-level ozone issues. So we will likely be funding programs like bus rapid transit and but also pedestrian and bike infrastructure throughout the counties that are in non-attainment area. We had our trails meeting, which was interesting on Friday because they are possibly looking at a new format, a new platform for trails, which sounds scary because it seems like we're starting all over again, but hopefully it will expedite the process. And hopefully, Commissioner Cavales asked me this weekend, wasn't I done with that committee? Wasn't it supposed to be a year? And I will see it through to the end, but I am hoping that it will only be another year. As Commissioner Cavales said, we met with our state reps and federal partners on last Friday to have a really nice discussion about some of the work that they're doing and the work that we want to see happen at the state and federal level. Some of our priority areas around fire mitigation and work on housing issues and other issues that are important to the county. And then finally, Saturday, obviously Parade Day, really fun day. Thank you to Cathay Reynolds, who was the parade marshal and former commissioner, for being there. She's just always a great presence anywhere she goes. The Museo de las Tres Colonias gazebo dedication was a really lovely celebration. The gazebo was dedicated to Donna Dees, who, if people don't know her, she's a longtime community volunteer, not only for the Tres Colonias neighborhoods, but really also participated in a lot of city planning and was a city and worked for the city as well. So her brother came out and it was really nice to meet him and just meet the board members and have a celebration in honor of Donna. And then the LaPorte Festival was great. It was great to see the LaPorte Area Planning Advisory Committee out there, and people were, it was a booth that was, people really wanted to put their sticky notes on the board. Residents really had a good vision of what they wanted to see for their community, which was really exciting to be a part of that. So, and then it got way too hot for me and I had to go and cool down, but it was a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. And I will add on, I also did pick up my friend and we walked around the LaPorte Festival. It was a lot of fun. I put on my hat and just tried to hang out with my friends and experience their neighborhood and how they like to celebrate the LaPorte community. So that was really cool. We didn't take any pictures though because I left my phones at home. So, but that was a great festival, and it's really, I haven't been to that festival for a couple of years, so I was excited to be there. I wanted to just, we had our last kind of rodeo board meeting, getting ready for the 75th PRCA rodeo and organizing some of the events, and we're going to be honoring on Veterans Night on Sunday some of the World War II veterans and trying to get some of those details finalized. And again, just like Commissioner Stevens shared, the rodeo board and is volunteer, and they do so much work throughout the whole year to make sure this rodeo is timed down to the second. And there's all these rules with the PRCA, and we have cowboy TVs coming, and we have all these live productions. It's quite the ordeal, and I'm really proud of the work that they do and the teamwork they have, and just again to the fair board as well. It's just tireless work and lots of volunteers, and we couldn't do it without everyone. I also attended the North Collins Business Association meeting. It was really great to talk to the Hope team and some of the business owners, and certainly a passionate group of people, and it's great to hear from them. Then I went and attended the Colorado Broadband office, came to our Loveland office, and had what they call the roadshow for broadband, and a lot of information we know, but we had some other incumbents and ISP people that came and talked, and it was great to connect with some folks who are private companies doing work in our community and talk with them, and that was a lot of enlightening and helpful information for me. And then I had my virtual Forest Health Council meeting, the full Forest Health Council meeting. I've been meeting weekly, chairing the legislative committee. I'm really grateful and proud to be appointed by the governor to serve on that Forest Health Council. Only 4 commissioners, 2 from the Western Front Range, are allowed to be on this. And it's we had a long meeting. We had approved all of my committee's recommendations for the legislative session next year, and it took probably triple as what we planned to for having that discussion. It was very interesting. We had the Gates Family Foundation come and talk about the cross-laminate lumber industry and the work that's being done, and there might be some conversations and work going forward with the Forest Health Council with that. We had our Regional Opioid Abatement Council meeting, our monthly meeting, and we had kind of facilitated through the county kind of work on our priority areas, and that was really a great conversation, and I really appreciate forgot her name that can facilitate, but we had some great ideas and great discussions, and appreciate our lived experience folks that serve on that committee. And then we had our Open Lands Advisory Board meeting on that night, and we welcomed our new appointed members, and we had a conversation with Heidi Pruis about the environmental policy, and that was a really spirited discussion. And it's a great group of folks, and I do a lot of volunteer work, really grateful for that. And then again, we had another Forest Health Legislative Committee the next day because we're getting ready to present in front of the Wildfire Interim Committee. And then I got a tour of ChildSafe, which was a phenomenal tour, and looked at all the quilts that are handmade, and it was a lot of great conversations, and I appreciate the very in-depth and heartfelt tour. I'll also appreciate our state representatives and senators and our federal partners who came to our luncheon. I want to shout out to Michelle Bird for helping kind of keep us on time, facilitating that meeting. It was a great conversation, and I felt like a lot of information and powerful and important information was shared. I loved being in the rodeo, or the parade and Fair and Rodeo Parade. Lots of community partners, really well done, well organized, and a lot of fun to see folks and our staff who drove us and handed out candy, and all the staff that came to volunteer on their day off. Thank you. Great job. We appreciate all the work that you do. I stayed. I went and met with some community constituents for coffee, and then I stayed and did the after party that was put on for the anniversary at the Foundry. I got to hang out with Cathay and her family, and there was some great live acts, and all the queens from Evergreen and Boulder County and our Larimer County Queen and Lady in Waiting were all trying to get everyone to get up and dance to the wonderful live music and line dance, and I tried to do that and failed miserably because they are a lot more agile than me right now, and I got to meet the family and friends of the musical act. It was a lot of fun, and Jay Krause was very patient trying to teach me how to rope a bull with the pretend bull, and I at least got through almost both horns, but close. So I appreciate his work there. And then, yesterday we just had a lot going on trying to get ready for some last details. But I wanted to say the Matthews House Steering Committee, as we're working on the joint effort through the Larimer County and Larimer County Human Services, Thompson School District, Poudre School District, and Matthews House and Bohemian and lots of other folks who really came together last spring as we brought everybody in the room for a community conversation about how are we going to solve this and bring everyone working together. We went to the future site of this youth homeless shelter in Loveland and saw it before it's going to be renovated because they received one of those state grants, and I appreciate everyone's excitement and the partnership, and very proud that Larimer County and us as a board and Human Services are part of that. So great stuff happening, and I'm wearing my rodeo gear. I'm planning to run by tonight, and also want to just say for everyone, tonight is National Night Out. Lots of activities happening in your communities. I hope that you'll get out and join our group. So I know we have to get onto our executive session, so I will ask tie this up, and I will ask, as we're going to move into executive session, and I believe what we'll do is we'll try to go ahead and close out this, and we're going to move into executive session, and we're going to move up to our conference room because we'll need to record up there. So we'll go ahead and, can we move into executive session here and then head upstairs?
Yes, and there is no decision expected, so we will not be coming back on the air.
So for those who are joining us, we will not be returning, and but we're going to move into executive session. So with that, I'll ask Commissioner Stevens to please make that motion.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that this board goes into executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6-4024E, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiations, and instructing negotiators relating to the operation of the Larimer County landfill.
Thank you for that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Just the one. Just for the one, and then we'll move the other one. So with that, Commissioner, did you say aye? I didn't hear you. Okay. So we are now in executive session. We will not be returning because there's no decision expected, and we thank you for joining us.